It is not necessary that the defender be correct in this belief. Again, we're not required to make perfect decisions in self-defense. We're only required to make reasonable decisions in self-defense. Self-defense is allowed against a reasonably perceived threat. And it's rather shocking how often criminal suspects are wielding fake or replica or airsoft or BB gun versions of pistols that are indistinguishable in the moment from an actual functional firearm. And then when they encounter law enforcement, they have a poor use of force outcome. We've got a couple example cases here. This one I used in this Colorado Public Defender's Office conference because it had just happened weeks earlier, prior to the conference in Denver, Colorado. Jordell Richardson, 14 years old, had the gun on the left here, a simulated H&K firearm. And there's a picture of the real version of that gun on the right. In the moment, especially at night, easy to see how the fake gun on the left would be reasonably be perceived as the real gun on the right. He was killed, Jordell Richardson. An unnamed juvenile, 15 years old. Notice the ages. This is from California. Had happened also just a few weeks before I spoke at the Colorado Public Defender's Office conference. That 15-year-old had the gun on the left, a Glock 19X, actually a BB gun. But it's indistinguishable. Even if you have time to look, it's really indistinguishable from most angles from the actual working firearm, Glock 19X, which is pictured on the right there. Excuse me. Tamir Rice. This was a very high-profile case. 13 years old. Cleveland, Ohio. Another Ohio case. November 2014. So almost 10 years ago now. He was walking around a park, a snowy park, pointing that upper gun at people walking around the park. And they called the police. And the police responded, pulled up in their patrol car. Much like the case here, where they pulled up within a few feet of Tamir Rice. And he reached for that apparent gun in his waistband. And the police shot him and killed him. It would later, of course, be determined that the gun on top, again, was a BB gun. But there's the real gun on the bottom there. And the chief of police of Cleveland, Ohio, himself African-American. And by the way, all these examples happen to be African-American suspects, which is why one of the reasons the Colorado Public Defender's Office said they never wanted to work with me again. Sorry, I didn't make these suspects do these things, but nevertheless, I guess it's impolite to mention it. But the Cleveland, Ohio chief of police himself said in a press conference these two guns were indistinguishable, that Tamir Rice was indistinguishable from a real gun.